محمد رسول الله أشهد أن محمد رسول الله حي على الصلاة حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح حي على الفلاح الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله.
هذه الدعوة التامة والصلاة القائمة آتي محمدا الوسيلة والفضيلة والمقام. رضيت بالله ربا وبالإسلام دينا وبمحمد نبيا. اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي. إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا. من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله. يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون. يا أيها الناس اتقوا ربكم الذي خلقكم من نفس واحدة وخلق منها زوجها وبث منهما رجالا كثيرا ونساء واتقوا الله الذي تساءلون به والأرحام إن الله كان عليكم رقيبا. يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله وقولوا قولا سديدا يصلح لكم أعمالكم ويغفر لكم ذنوبكم ومن يطع الله ورسوله فقد فاز فوزا عظيما. أما بعد فإن أصدق الحديث كتاب الله وخير الهدى هدى محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم وشر الأمور محدثاتها وكل محدثة بدعة وكل بدعة دلالة وكل دلالة في النار. Verily all the praise and certainly all of the glorification and all of our dedication and all of our magnification should be for Allah and Allah alone. And I publicly, I inwardly, and I outwardly attest and profess and confess that there is nothing or no one that deserves to be worshipped except for Allah Jalla fi Thana subhanahu wa ta'ala. And I bear witness that Al-Mustafa, Al-Amin, Abu Qasim, Muhammad ibn Abdullah salawatullahi wa salam alayhi is the last of messengers sent to guide mankind from the darkness into the light. عنوان اليوم فقه واقع. فقه الواقع يا إخوان. Many of the brothers, they don't know about this science called fiqh al-waqi'ah. Understanding the current affairs, understanding the circumstances, understanding the state of the ummah, understanding the context of the reality. Many of us, we've studied fiqh al-ibadah. Maybe some of us have studied fiqh al-nikah or fiqh al-mu'amalat or fiqh al-janazah. But the topic of fiqh al-waqi'ah, knowledge of the current affairs, ya ikhwan, it is so important, ya ikhwan. It is so important, my dear brothers. And when we look into the science, my dear brothers, based upon the hadith of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, which is found in Imam Bukhari in his Sahih, the Prophet wanted to say, "Man yuridillahu bihi khayran yufaqihu fid-din." If Allah, He wants good for you, He'll give you comprehension of this religion, ya ikhwan. So being people that are in the so-called land of milk and honey, the West, where I was born, my father was born, my grandfather was born. I know a little bit more than many of my brothers that came from different countries about how things go down in this society, ya ikhwan. We look at the situation in light of, ya ikhwan, the importance of how the ulama, the scholars, they stated clearly that those who lead the ummah and give answers to solve its problems should have knowledge, understanding of the circumstances and the realities. Hence, one of the famous sayings is that the hukm, the ruling on the thing, is a projection of one who understands of it, and that cannot be achieved except by understanding the circumstances surrounding the issue for which they have not given an answer, ya ikhwan. So many people, they come from different countries, ya ikhwan. And this is why it's so important, me as a new Muslim, alhamdulillah, we learn from the ulama, ya ikhwan, from amongst them. Ibn Qayyim, rahimahullah, in his very famous book, which many Muslims, they don't know about, He has a book called I'lam al-Muwaqqi'in, ya ikhwan, which I'm still trying to purchase. The best way I guess you can translate that is those signatories or those who try to sign for Allah Azza wa Jalla making things halal and haram, something like this. My translation may be off a little bit. The Sheikh said in there that I, here in the West, I don't have to take a fatwa from overseas, ya ikhwan. I'm going to look for the fatwa from the ulama that are in this country, ya ikhwan. Because the scholar who lives abroad doesn't know what I go through every day, ya ikhwan. And just like they have problems in those countries, I can't make a fatwa, or any of the scholars make a fatwa, or anybody knowledgeable make a fatwa for over there, ya ikhwan. Because you need to know the hal, the circumstances that the people are going through. So from the Shaykh, fiqh al-waqi means understanding what concerns the Muslims with regard to their own affairs against those that are plotting and planning, ya ikhwan, to destroy Islam from without and from within, my dear brothers. Understanding reality in order to reach a proper ruling is an important duty, and it's only for specialized, smart groups of seekers of knowledge who do this. So when we look at this situation, ya ikhwan, many Muslims, they don't know where to get their news from. The best news, فَإِنَّ أَسْتَقَ الْحَدِيثِ كِتَابُ اللَّهِ وَخَيْرِ الْهُدَى هُدَى مُحَمَّدٍ صَلَّى اللَّهُ عَلَيْهِ وَسَلَّمَ ya ikhwan. It's clear for us, clear as day, if you understand what's being said, my dear brothers. So when we look at this situation, my dear beautiful brothers, when we all love you for Allah, where do you get your information? Al-Khabar. Where do you get your news from? From the newspapers? From magazines? From specialized journals written by think tanks? By periodicals? By tabloids? You know, when you go to the grocery store, you see all the old ladies there, they go and they find out what's going on with this person and that person. They spend it. That's probably one of the most distributed pieces of information that people buy. They get their news from that. Some people, they call it fake news, right? Where do you get your news from? From Twitter, from Reddit, from Instagram, from Facebook, from YouTube, from TikTok. Some of these, they may actually be really important in getting some information because it gives you an alternative to the media sources, ya ikhwan. My parents, they got their media their whole life from radio and TV. I don't have a TV in my house, I have a computer, but I listen to the radio every now and then, ya ikhwan. Who is trustworthy when we're getting our news, ya ikhwan? This is the question we need to be asking. Who is reliable? Thiqah. There's a science in Islam called khabra thiqah. The rijal, ilm al-rijal, who said what? Name us your men where you got your information. People listen to or watch CNN. Some of them watch Fox News, some ABC, NBC, some Sky News. Some claim to be the most reliable, trusted source of information, ya ikhwan. So ya ikhwan, one thing with social media is it gives the common man like me and you to give our own narrative and tell our own story, ya ikhwan. So that's why you find many of the youth, they're on these social media outlets, ya ikhwan. There is some good, and there is some bad. It depends on how you use this tool. We are talking about and tell everybody today that the khutbah was about fiqh al-waqi'ah, knowledge of the current affairs. Ya ikhwan, many of us, we turn to the news and our language. We want to know about the natural disasters in our country, the fires that are in the sky going across the country. Many of us, we want to know about volcanoes, floods, droughts, earthquakes, humanitarian aid or lack of it. Where is our media? Where is the Muslims' media, ya ikhwan? Where is the Muslims' media, ya ikhwan? We tried to start years ago, Muslim youth media, and the Muslims are so far back behind in the past, they have not been supporting Muslim youth media, ya ikhwan, which is essential. More essential than the chandeliers that you see in some masjids, more essential than you see in the domes on the top of the masjids, more essential than you see in the minarets, which we can't even call the adhan, which would be a media. Muslim media is important, my dear brothers. So much so, ya ikhwan, that media sometimes it finds its way in music. I grew up on the hip-hop culture, ya ikhwan, so I got lots of my news from hip-hop music and from watching gangster movies when I was young, ya ikhwan. Some of them good, some of them bad, ya ikhwan. The question comes now, my dear brothers. Who controls the media? Who controls the music? Who controls the video games? Who controls the websites? We're talking about fiqh al-waqiyah. I know people, ya ikhwan, who live on Facebook, who live on Twitter, who live on Tumblr, who live on YouTube, who live on TikTok. The question is, brothers, is media bad, or how are we using it? So now my question, my dear brothers in Islam, here we are, 2023. Media, ya ikhwan, is something that in certain countries now, they've stopped the broadcast of being able to hear the adhan or watch certain masjids or certain people praying. This has been decreased, ya ikhwan, which is quite interesting. When we look at the situation, ya ikhwan, Allah Ta'ala has told the believers, and it's something, ya ikhwan, what our deen is based upon, who said what. They used to ask, who said that? Name us your men. Who said what you're saying? Give us your chain of narration. وقال الله تعالى أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم يا أيها الذين آمنوا إن جاءكم فاسق بنبأ فتبينوا إن تصيبوا قوم بجهالة فتصبحوا على ما فعلتم نادمين يا إخوان. Allah Ta'ala goes on to say, oh, you have iman. If a fasiq, an evil person, comes to you with any khabar, any news, verify it, lest you should harm people in ignorance, and afterwards then you become neglectful of what you have done and regretful, ya ikhwan. So when we look at the thing, ya ikhwan, we have to examine information when it comes to us. And the question comes, and this is something that I ask my brothers, do you know what istidlal means? Do you know what dalil means, what hujjah means, what burhan means? If you translate it in English, it all means proof, but there are different types of proof, ya ikhwan, within the sciences of Islam. It's something that somebody more knowledgeable than me, they need to explain, my dear brothers. وَقَالَ اللَّهُ تَعَالَى قُلْ هَاتُوا بُرْحَانَكُمْ إِن كُنْتُمْ صَادِقِينَ. Allah Ta'ala goes on to say, O Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, to them, produce your proof if you are truthful, ya ikhwan. How many times have you heard, oh, I heard so-and-so said that so-and-so got divorced. Well, I heard so-and-so, he did this or she did that. And the question you gotta ask that person, well, where did you hear that from? And they don't want to give you who it's from, but yet they want to give you information. Say, Akhi, well, where did you get that? Min ayna laka hadha? This is one of the first Arabic sentences that I learned as a new Muslim from one of my sheikhs. I was taught something by a Muslim who was very sincere, but he wasn't knowledgeable when I started to do it. And I met a sheikh, and the sheikh said, Ya akhi, min ayna laka hadha, brother? Where'd you get this from? I said, oh, Fulan wa Alan told me this. He said, brother, do you have dalil from Kitab wa Sunnah? Is it based on an authentic hadith? And it showed me back then, ya ikhwan, you have to have citations to sort your information. So, ya ikhwan, Imam al-Nawawi, rahmatullah alayhi, one of the scholars of Islam, he went on to say, usually a person hears truth and lies. So he speaks of everything that he hears. He is lying but telling of the things that did not happen, and lying of speaking of something other than the way that it happened. So he may have some of the information. And I used to have a friend that went to the university. He now has a master's degree in some science, I don't remember. But he was telling me his professor was saying, ya ikhwan, and it's quite interesting. He had a way to ask somebody a few questions. Because he had some information. Oh, I heard that there was a fight over here. It was the girl with the blonde hair, right? And you're like, yeah, how did you know? He's like, yeah, she was the tall one. Yeah, how did you know? And he's just guessing. So now he knows it's the girl with blonde hair and she's tall. And then he said, yeah, was she the one who had like a loud mouth? No, she was the silent one. Oh, yeah. So now he knows he's got another piece of information, ya ikhwan. The more you open your mouth, ya ikhwan, the more people that get information from you. So we have to be careful with what we say. أقول قولي هذا واستغفر توب إليك وسائر المسلمين أجمعين فاستغفروه إنه غفور رحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين حمدا كثيرا طيبا مباركا فيه كما يحب ربنا ويرضى. The great scholar, Imam Ibn Qayyim rahimahullah, ya ikhwan, he wrote this book called I'lam al-Muwaqqi'in. And he went on to say in it that the mufti, and this is something very fascinating to me as a new Muslim. I've asked different Muslims from different backgrounds, different cultures, what it means, and I found that depending upon where you're from, people, they understand it differently. The mufti or the judge, the qadi, is not able to issue a fatwa or a verdict without understanding two things. Number one, understanding and having a good grasp of the reality. He should have a good understanding of what's happening on the basis of the circumstantial evidence and other signs so that he is in full, total understanding. So there was a topic, maybe about 3-4 years ago, it came in, I don't like to even use the word, but quote unquote, the Afro-American community, which that's a discussion within itself, where some brothers were saying, Sheikh Fulan over in such and such a land, he don't care about us here in the hood. And they're talking about Philadelphia or New York. And the brothers had a big discussion. Does the Sheikh care or he doesn't care? And it even got to the level where they were saying that the Sheikh, he doesn't lose sleep over what's happening over here to the people over here in the West. He's got his own problems over there. Wallahu ta'ala alam wa alam ya akhwan. Do we lose sleep for what's happening in the Muslim countries? Unless it's only our country where we're from, most of the times, not all, some of the Muslims are like, my phone, ya akhwan, last week, the brothers in Ethiopia, they're suffering over there. Lots of horrible things are happening over there. Some people, they're like, it's not my country, I don't care. إِنَّمَا الْمُؤْمِنُونَ إِخْوَةً. The believers are brothers, ya akhwan. We should be concerned about the Muslims. كُلُّ مَكَانٍ وَزَمَانٍ وَالْإِنسَانِ. All place, all time, all people. So the Shaykh he wanted to say, number two, understanding what is required in the light of these circumstances, which means understanding the ruling of Allah that He issued in His book and on the lips of His Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam, then he should apply that to one another. So my dear brothers, fiqh al-waqiyah, it is a Sharia sense, is undoubtedly something that is obligatory, but that is not for every single individual, ya akhwan. But some of us, we need to understand this science. There's one brother I know, mashallah, he writes in one of the newspapers and he does excellent work. I can't remember his name, but he's a great writer, ya akhwan. We need more writers. We need more speakers. We need more talkers. We need more du'at. The Muslims is sitting on the sideline doing nothing, ya akhwan. Understanding what is going on, ya akhwan, in the current affairs, political analysis, understanding realities of the situations, times, place, otherwise, ya akhwan, the mufti, his fatwa may not meet the people's needs. It may be beyond their ability to implement, ya akhwan. So where are we going with all of this, ya akhwan? One of the ayahs that one of the sheikhs he wrote in his book, he went on to bring this ayah, ya akhwan. قال الله تعالى ولكن كونوا ربانيين بما كنتم تعلمون الكتاب وبما كنتم تدرسون. Rather, you should be rabbaniyin, high-level scholars, because you teach the book and you studied it, ya akhwan. Studying is not only hifz, that's part of our deen, but it's reading tafsir, ya akhwan. Our religion has been completed, my dear brothers. And Imam rahimahullah, Imam Malik rahmatullah alayhi, he made a very beautiful statement. I forgot to write it in Arabic, but he went on to say, what was not considered deen in those days is not deen today. So the latter part of the ummah will not set right except by that which set the first part, ya akhwan. And the first question, min ayna laka hadha? Akhi, where you get your information from? Who told you that? Where's your source? You have dalil? This is one of the first things as a new Muslim that I was told and I taught by some of the brothers. Akhi, you have dalil for that? You have evidence for that, brother? Where's your evidence? Where's your proof? Well, Sheikh so-and-so said, okay, we respect Sheikh so-and-so, but what's his dalil? Where'd he get it from? And one thing, ya akhwan, I learned about Ibn Qayyim, as well as Sheikh Uthaymeen and many other great scholars, they had a beautiful ability. When you read some of the books, they would write on a topic and they'd bring all the proof in the dalil and you're like, that's it. Then you turn, wa aqsahu wa didhu, the Sheikh comes and he brings dalil on the opposite side, ya akhwan. And then after all of that, he said, Wallahu alam, I think based upon this and this, I think this is the right answer. And Allah Ta'ala, He knows best. This is the way, ya akhwan, of ilm. You study a situation, you say, this is what I think, this is what I understand. Wallahu alam dhalik. Ya akhwan, we have to be really careful where we get our information, who we listen to these days, ya akhwan. People are coming out of nowhere, speaking out of nowhere, ya akhwan. We have to ask them, Akhi, barakallahu feek, may Allah reward you for your hirs, trying to teach the religion, but Akhi, where do you get this from? And who taught you? And where's your chain of narration? And who did you study under? This used to be important, now it's not. With that, اللهم صل على محمد وعلى ال محمد كما صليت على ابراهيم وعلى ال ابراهيم في العالمين انك مجيد. We ask Allah Azza wa Jal to help the Muslims to give us an intellect that we can be able to discern between haqq and batil, ya ikhwan. We ask Allah Azza wa Jal to give us an intellect, ya ikhwan, that we can see truth from falsehood, ya ikhwan. And we can practice what is true and stay steadfast upon the haqq. With that, hadama indi wa sallallahu wa sallam ala nabiyyina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Kim as-salat wa rahmakallah. So shit.
They keep it live streaming on for the Quran.
No, you can take it off. استوت التراص وصله الصف ووصله الله